Welcome to this week's video. I'm Christina Lopes, and I'm so glad to see you. This week I'm talking a little bit about diet, mindful eating, or the spiritual diet as some people call it. A lot of people ask me what I eat and if I have any recommendations, nutritional recommendations for people who are going through their own personal evolution, their own personal development, who may be becoming more spiritual, who may be more mindful, practicing mindfulness and meditation and going on their journey of personal development. And they ask me a lot, what's the right diet? What's the spiritual diet? Or how do you mindfully eat? So I'm going to give you some suggestions today. I don't really prescribe to any type of diet. I don't actually like to use the term diet because I think that we are all biologically and energetically prepared to eat different things. So there is no one-size-fits-all diet for anyone. So just let me start out with that. There's no one-size-fits-all diet. We're all uniquely biologically and energetically prepared to eat certain foods. And the foods that we may be prepared to eat in a certain phase of our lives may change. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about my journey and what happened to me. I have, for the longest time, even before I became spiritual and had my spiritual awakening, I've been for the longest time, I was for many years a paleo eater. So I have very early on in my life, I noticed that for me, carbohydrates and excessive sugar did not function very well. I started to have brain fog, depression, a lot of mental symptoms. And so I started to, before my spiritual awakening and before realizing that there were other things other than diet that contribute to all of the problems that I was having, I started tweaking my diet initially before my spiritual awakening. And it did really have a big effect on me. So I was doing paleo, and what paleo is it's a high protein, high fat diet with a lot of plants, very low in carbohydrates, okay? So I was doing that before 2013. Then in 2013, I had my spiritual awakening, and immediately I didn't change my diet because I forced myself to. I changed my diet because my body really asked me to. So I, from one day to the next, began dropping animal protein naturally. And this was a little bit, this caused a little bit of nervousness in me because I still felt that I really didn't want to eat excessive carbohydrates. But if I stopped eating animal protein, what would I eat? So I started to transition more slowly to a more vegetarian diet. And now the diet that I kind of use more is what Dr. Mark Hyman calls, he termed it, it's called Pegan. That's his term. And what he prescribes is kind of what I eat. So he talks a lot about how to decrease your animal protein intake and introduce more vegetarian proteins. And that's what I do. That's what I do now. Now, I want to say that this may be right for you or not. There is generally a drive or a draw more to kind of decrease your animal protein intake when you continue on your personal development and spiritual work. And why? There seems to be a correlation between feeling energetically light and being able to enter deeper meditation states, the lighter you eat. So, and this is just for me, it's worked for me. It doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. But this is generally, it's no coincidence that all the great mystics and spiritual masters of the world, they tend to not be really animal eaters. And there's a reason for that. So I'm just leaving this out there for you to kind of, there's a lot more to the type of nutrition that I prescribe and that I work with clients on. So if this is a topic that interests you and you'd like me to help you individualize your nutrition plan, individualize the way you eat, then reach out to me and we can get that started. But for now, I wanted to leave you these simple rules, or not rules, I don't want to use the word rule, but these simple tips and advice on how to start eating more mindfully and how to start treating your body in a way that may be more, it kind of help you out on your spiritual journey and on your journey of self-development. And I'm going to continue talking about nutrition and biohacking in other videos, so you can check those out in my YouTube channel too, all right? So the first tip is decrease your animal protein, especially land animal protein. And the reason that I give this recommendation is because the majority of land animals now, we're talking cows, pigs. So when you eat beef or pork or chicken, where that chicken is coming from, where that pork is coming from, and where that beef is coming from are generally intensive farming. And intensive farming is horrible for the planet, for the animals, and subsequently for you that then eats that flesh. So, but I'm going to talk about this in a different video. So, but just as the general tip, try and decrease your land animal intake and start substituting those proteins with other proteins, like chickpeas, lentils, beans, things like that. Use more vegetarian proteins to substitute your beef and your chicken and your pork, okay? So that's my first recommendation. Start decreasing your animal protein intake. The second tip is massively increase your plant intake. So many vegetables, so many plants. I recommend generally moderate to low fruit intake. So we're not consuming a lot of fruit because that can be high in sugar too, and it can mess with your blood glucose level. And in order for you to be nice and balanced, it's good to maintain your blood glucose level pretty steady. So don't introduce too many sugars, even if they do come from fruit, okay? But vegetables, just eat vegetables all the time. And when people are starting out, I like to use color as a good reference. So just go to the supermarket, and if you're not sure what kind of vegetables to get, just think in terms of colors. So get yourself different bell peppers, get different green things, different red things, yellow things, okay? So that you have this kind of rainbow on your plate. And that's a good way to start increasing your plant intake. All right, so massively increase your vegetable intake. Moderate to low fruit intake. And then what else can I give you? So as you're massively increasing your vegetable intake, you're going to slowly bring down your animal protein. Also draw down on carbohydrates, especially processed carbohydrates. So if you're a bread eater, if you're a pasta eater, if you're a white rice eater, bring that down a little bit. I know some people don't really like it when I say that, but processed carbohydrates, they just wreak havoc on your body, okay? And if you want to be more balanced, if you want to be kind of more steady, more at peace, your blood glucose levels need to be nice and stable. So I don't eat a very, very low carbohydrate. I eat a moderate carbohydrate diet. So what are my carbohydrates? I have kind of a gold standard of carbohydrates. I eat a lot of sweet potatoes or yams, pumpkin is another one. Squash is another good one. I eat quinoa every once in a while. I don't eat it excessively, but I eat quinoa. That's my rice. Actually, it would be considered my rice. I'm not a big rice eater, and so those are kind of my carbohydrates. Are the sweet potatoes, yams, quinoa, squashes, and pumpkins. Okay. So try and make these your carbohydrates and not too much of the, breads, pastas, white rices, white potatoes. Let's start drawing down on those a little bit. All right, so that's my other recommendation. And the last recommendation I have to give you has to do with fat. Fat has been demonized, and I don't even want to get into the reasons why it's been demonized, especially in the U.S. The science is now turning on that, so you're going to hear lots of recommendations going forward now saying that fat indeed does not create heart disease, and that's finally, after about 40 years of fat being demonized and people being put on low-fat diets and heart disease, unsurprisingly, getting worse and worse and worse, the lower fat we had in our diet. Now the tide is turning. So I actually consume a lot of fat, but I consume good fats. Now, what are my good fats? Coconut oil. I consume butter from pastured cows. All right, so butter from pastured cows, not butter from cows that are in feedlots that they don't even see sun, they don't see a blade of grass, they don't get to eat grass, none of that. So I don't consume any products from animals that come from these problematic industrialized farms because it causes a lot of problems for the environment and it's very, very, causes a lot of suffering for the animals. But I do consume butter from pastured raised cows, all right? So that's one of my super fats is butter. Butter is very good for you, contrary to popular belief. butter, coconut oil, the fats in nuts and seeds. I consume olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I'm Portuguese, so that's kind of extra virgin olive oil is a staple in our diet, in the Mediterranean diets, all right? So there are some fats that you can consume and consume them without a problem. So don't be looking at fat trying to cut it. No, in fact, increase it. This is the trick, actually. As a lot of people, when they're starting to cut their carbohydrates, they come to me and they say, Tina, I just can't do this. This is insane. I have so many cravings. The trick to stop those cravings, to stop those carbohydrate cravings when you start going down, drawing down on the carbohydrates, is to increase your good fat intake. So if you increase fat intake, you'll notice that your cravings will almost diminish. And the cravings are a natural part, too, of cutting your carbohydrates when your body is so addicted to sugar. It takes a little while for that addiction to be removed. But if you're patient, if you up your fat intake, and if you kind of keep that fat intake high without any fear that you're going to have any disease or anything like that, as long as your fats are good, you want to stay away from fats that are bad. So which fats are bad? Vegetable oils, trans fats, any kind of Frankenstein oils. I call them Frankenstein oils, okay? So, oh, sorry, we had somebody driving by. So the Frankenstein oils are the trans fats, any kind of vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is not good for you. So this is kind of unfortunate for me because French fries, French fries are my favorite food, I think, in the whole world. So I don't consume them a lot because they're usually, you go out to a restaurant and they're fried with vegetable oil. So I don't consume them a lot. But I'm non-dogmatic, and as you get to know me a little bit more about the type of nutrition that I advocate, you'll notice that one of the pillars of my talks about nutrition is you got to live life. You got to live life and enjoy everything, even if it's that chocolate cake that may have white flour in it. You got to enjoy it, and even if it's French fries every once in a while, you got to enjoy life. So I'm a big advocate of that. So every once in a while, I'll eat my French fries knowing that they've been fried in vegetable oil. But I don't eat French fries every day, not even close. So these are kind of some of the tips and some of the advice that I have to give around nutrition. I'll keep talking about it more. If you have more questions about nutrition, if you'd like to get to know more deeply the type of nutrition that I advocate to kind of help you increase going on your journey of personal development, it's a diet, it's a type of nutrition that helps your energy levels increase. It helps you meditate better. It helps you center your energy. So I don't just talk about the body, I talk about the body, the soul, the spiritual and mental levels of you. You're a multidimensional being. You're not just flesh and bone. So the type of nutrition that I advocate is more along those lines of trying to bring you into a balanced state in all parts, not just your body. So if you want to learn more about it, you can shoot me an email at info@christina-lopes.com. And you can always, if you really need more help, you can always reach out to me, for sessions or for coaching. I'm available. All right. So that's it for nutrition today. I'll be back with more on this topic. It was great seeing you guys, and I'll hope to see you soon. Thank you.